Hello and welcome to the Magpie and Bunny podcast, where we talk about everything that we can't justify talking about anywhere else. I'm here to talk about the Garbage Pail Kids. They are vile, reprehensible, obnoxious, but most of all, gross, and I advise you to change the channel right now. My name is Belle, and my pronouns are she, her.
I am 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. My name is Bubbles, she, her. This is going to be a fun episode, because we've already been experiencing like an hour and a half worth of technical difficulties. It's amazing, and I'm sure it's going to result in such a polished final product.
Yeah, it's going to make, I'm already exhausted and we're just starting.
Thank you for joining us on this adventure, and it's going to be an adventure. I promise you that much.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I briefly mentioned it in my little dumb intro thing that Bubbles insists on us doing. But I convinced her to talk about the Garbage Pail Kids, and I'm very proud of that.
Yes, and this is going to be a thing. Because I'll have you know, I'm just not... The Garbage Pail Kids are certainly not my thing, and I thought they weren't anyone's thing, but I guess they're Belle's thing.
They are 100% my thing. Oh my god. So, in particular, I suggested the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon from the 80s, 87 specifically, because I know you like your specific dates.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I feel seen.
Which was a CBS cartoon that, how do I put this, was banned in America. I'm going to hit you with some fun Garbage Pail Kids facts right now, because this cartoon, a season long, 13 episodes, never aired in America because parental groups, religious groups, things of that sort, complained heavily because this was right in the middle of schools and teachers and everything banning Garbage Pail Kids cards. So they're like, it's too reprehensible. What were some of the complaints they had? It was glorifying violence, and they said it only existed it was basically 30-minute commercials for the Garbage Pail Kids trading cards and stickers, which doesn't seem like a good enough reason to ban a show, because every show in the 80s was a commercial, was a 30-minute commercial for toys and cards and things.
Is the entire point of the 80s in general was just that Ronald Reagan said that people could advertise however they wanted in kids' TV shows, and that's how we got Transformers and everything like that.
Correct. There were all of those shows, even before the 80s, a lot of He-Man was just sell toys. That's all they wanted to do, was sell toys. And even I remember writers on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon would be like, we didn't make a lot of these characters. They would just give us a toy design and say, put this in the show somewhere.
I dig that. You know, I just finished listening to I think it was last week or the week before that, the podcast show Opening Arguments did a big long part on one of the lawsuits that resulted in some of the legal proceedings that led to, I think it was some Japanese transforming robot cartoon that got kind of shipped into America more or less, and then turned into what was later the Transformers, and sort of became the big boom of anime being imported. I will probably link that in the show notes because I think it's pretty interesting, and I think a lot of people will be interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, that would be very, very neat. But we're here to talk about the Garbage Pail Kids and not Transformers.
We are not here to talk about Transformers. That is correct. But
no. Well, Transformers is going to be another episode, and it will be another episode. I'll make sure of it.
Yes, we can have fun with Transformers. As a matter of fact, the next episode that we're going to talk about, I'm going to at least mention some of the Transformers movies from 2007. But we'll talk more about that we'll talk more about that when we're ready to talk about that. But Garbage Pail Kids. So
Garbage Pail. Okay, so let's dial it back a little bit. What do you know about the Garbage Pail Kids?
So I remember my dad had a collection of Garbage Pail Kids trading cards. My grandparents held onto them for a while, and then one point they found them. They brought them up to show to the rest of the family. They showed them all off to us. I remember seeing them. I remember thinking, oh wow, these are kind of cool. But then after a while, I'm just kind of sitting there. They're just kind of unpleasant. and not really even in a fun way. I just lost interest, and then like over time I just heard more about things like the Garbage Pail Kids movie and stuff like that, and I never really engaged with any of that directly, but it was always just something that I found unpleasant for the sake of unpleasantness, and it never really caught my interest. And it was something that whenever I heard the Garbage Pail Kids name brand attached to something, I just said, that's not going to be my thing, and I'm going to leave this alone. So I came at this cartoon from a bit of a negative position, and I was kind of ready to just not be super into it, but we'll talk more about my thoughts and feelings on the cartoon itself later. I want to hear more said about Garbage Pail Kids itself, because I had never heard about like the cards being banned and stuff like that. Although I'm sure like for the Garbage Pail Kids fandom, this feels like the whole thing about like parents and everyone else and teachers not being into the Garbage Pail Kids kind of feels almost like what they're selling themselves on.
Yes. So the bands were everywhere. A lot of it was just they're a distraction to students learning, which was always a silly argument for anything not being in school. It was mostly just like family organizations, parental groups, religious affiliates, that kind of thing, thinking they were really gross and in poor taste, which, like you said, is kind of the point, because they were made as a parody of the Cabbage Patch Kids. Like, you're aware of Cabbage Patch Kids, those dolls with the ugly faces that were freaking everywhere.
What's a Cabbage Patch Kid?
Okay, they're the dolls with the ugly faces that were everywhere.
Cabbage Patches, I'm fucking with you. Proceed.
So, and that was actually a lawsuit. Speaking of lawsuits, the Cabbage Patch Kids people, I don't remember what the company is, actually sued Topps, which is the company that printed the Garbage Pail Kids cards, because they looked too much like the Cabbage Patch Kids. It was very clearly a parody of them. And that's why after that lawsuit, which I believe they settled out of court, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on anything ever. But after that lawsuit happened, the designs of the Garbage Pail Kids changed to not look as close to the Cabbage Patch Kids anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I should mention the man who created the Garbage Pail Kids before we get too far into this. Are you familiar with Art Spiegelman?
I am not.
Okay. He was very famous artist, very famous editor, worked on The New Yorker for many, 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 many years. And I think probably one of his most famous works is his... are you familiar with the graphic novel Maus? M-A-U-S?
I don't think I've heard of it, no.
Well, it's a graphic novel starring mice and cats. It's a huge, very blatant analogy for World War II, and it's basically the story of his father's experiences as a Jewish man living in Poland during World War II. Use your imagination as to what it's about.
Yes, I remember seeing this now, but keep
Yes.
on your train of thought, just in case anybody hasn't heard of it before. Or unless that's everything you want to mention about it.
Well, I'm not going to go too far into it because we're talking about the Garbage Pail Kids, and I don't feel like that's an appropriate topic for a show about the Garbage Pail Kids.
On our show about the Garbage Pail Kids, we're going to take an in-depth dive on the Holocaust. Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to say the word, but yeah.
You can...
I know, it's a historical event, but there's a lot of, like, heavy connotations to a lot of people. So I was going to avoid it, but whatever. Bubbles ripped the Band-Aid off. So yeah, the guy who wrote and drew Maus is the same creator of the Garbage Pail Kids, and I just think that's neat.
That is quite an adventure.
Yeah, so, yes, and 85, I believe, is when the cards first started coming out. They got very, very popular because it was, edgy and in your face. Garbage Pail Kids were the Bart Simpson of the 80s. That's a sentence.
It's
So
funny.
late 80s is when they started like really, like you mentioned the Garbage Pail Kids movie, which we're not going to be talking about. It's considered one of the worst movies ever made.
Considered by who, though?
I don't know if it deserves that credit, but it's a thing. But also around that time, they made a Saturday morning cartoon for CBS, and I believe it was headed by I'm blanking on his name. I'm gonna have to take this one again. Flint Dill. The show was headed by Flint Dill, who is the grandson of the guy who published Buck Rogers. That's a cool little fun fact. And he produced the Garbage Pail Kids show, which, like I said, never aired in the United States. Like maybe years and years and years later it did, but originally it didn't. Originally it just aired in the UK, and it aired like all over, from what I know, except the United States.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
you
think it
could-
ever did air in the United States because you and I both ended up watching it on YouTube, and I think that implies that the fact that someone was able to upload the entire series to YouTube maybe implies that the rights holder or whoever would have been able to air it in America either never did it or doesn't really care too much about the rights or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot, especially with CBS cartoons. Because I remember finding just like the whole series of the CBS Story Break, which is a fantastic series, complete with like those late 80s, early 90s commercials. Like the commercials weren't even edited out. These were not like official releases. And they were just all on YouTube, and nobody cares because it's the CBS Story Break, except I care.
So check out Garbage Pail Kids cartoon and the CBS Story Break cartoon I haven't seen the CBS Story Break cartoon, but watch it anyways.
Oh, we'll see. Well,
That was
we'll get there. We'll get there. CBS Story Break is very charming, but Garbage Pail Kids, it is a who's who of talent on this show. In case you were wondering,
I recognized.
what's up?
I think Tara Strong is on the show, and she's the only one I recognized.
Tara Strong is on the show. She plays Putty Patty,
Yeah, that makes sense. Tara Strong is everywhere.
and I believe this
Tara
is one
Strong-
of her first acting roles. I think. Again, don't quote me on anything ever, but this is very early in her career. And speaking of voice actors, Cree Summer is Clogged Dwayne, and Cree Summer is everywhere.
I can't say I'm familiar with the name. What's some other stuff that they've done?
Like examples, she's Susie on the Rugrats. She was Penny on Inspector Gadget. She was Elmira on Tiny Toon Adventures. She is Kita from Atlantis: The Lost Empire. She's Foxy on Drawn Together. She's everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere, and she's amazing.
Wow, she is literally everywhere.
So yes, Cree Summer's in this. Don Franks is in this, who's amazing. Oh, Allison Court, of all people, is doing voices in this. And I also believe this is one of her first voice acting credits. I guess Allison Court, for example, was the voice of Jubilee in the X-Men cartoon. She was the voice of Lydia from the Beetlejuice cartoon. She was the original voice of Claire from the Resident Evil games.
Oh dear.
Yeah, she's a lot. Oh, and she was also Lunette on the Big Comfy Couch, which means nothing to anybody except for me and my 2-year-old self.
Yes, I can just take one little audio clip of me saying, I don't know who that is, just repeat it over and over again when I do this in the edit. This is going to be an easy episode for me.
Yeah, really, because that's, oh my god. But we had so many people, and the writers on this show. Paul Dini wrote an episode of this show. Do you know who Paul Dini is? Probably not.
I don't, but I'm going to pretend like I do so I seem smart. But you should tell the audience, just in
Paul
case they
Dini,
don't know, but not me, because I do know.
Of course. Paul Dini is a famous comics writer who is way too obsessed with Zatanna, but that's another tangent. He wrote on Batman the Animated Series. He wrote on Tiny Toons. He wrote on basically any superhero show with Bruce Timm. Paul Dini was on it. And
that means he's probably written for Tara Strong a couple of times. I'm going to edit that out. Totally going to edit it out.
You're not. But yes, he's absolutely written. He's worked with Tara Strong before, I guarantee it. So yeah, Paul Dini wrote an episode of the
that
show.
Tara Strong has
That's
been in as
incredible.
well, just because we've explained who everyone else is. So Tara Strong is known for playing like Harley Quinn in Batman the Animated Series, Twilight Sparkle in the My Little Pony cartoon from 2010. She's played like Raven in
Tara
the
Strong wasn't Harley Quinn in Batman the Animated Series. She took over as Harley Quinn, but the original voice of Harley Quinn was actually Arlene Sorkin, who was actually one of the inspirations for the character. So check your facts, Bubbles.
So Tara Strong is going to be replacing Belle on this podcast as my other co-host.
Oh God!
You've heard Tara Strong before. Like people have heard. If you don't know who she is, you've still heard one of her characters before.
Speaking of Bubbles, Tara Strong was also Bubbles of the Powerpuff Girls.
Exactly. She can replace me as well. They can just be the Tara Strong and Tara Strong podcast, starring Tara Strong.
Perfect.
It is really difficult for me to say starring Tara Strong. That's a little bit of a tongue twister right there.
You're definitely doing a bad job. But then again,
I'm doing a great job. I don't know what you're talking about. Keep talking about Garbage Pail Kids.
then again, I feel like I'm also doing a bad job, just in general.
You're doing your best, and I respect that, and I respect you.
Well, that's your first mistake. We're probably going to edit this part out. So anyway, there's a lot of talent behind this show. Like, everybody who's anybody has worked on this, okay?
Yeah, but neither of us are on the show.
Oh, there's actually here's
I mean, the show predates both of our lives by like
here's one that you might
almost
like.
10 years. But oh well.
Here's a fun. Are you familiar with the name Linda Wolverton?
Nope.
Okay, well, she was a writer on the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon, and she wrote on many different 80s Saturday morning cartoons. Transformers is one of them, G.I. Joe, you know, the classics. But she's probably best known. She wrote just like a couple movies that, I mean, they're like really small little movies that like nobody's ever really heard of, but she wrote Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King.
Yeah, I've never heard of those. What's Beauty and the Beast and Lion King?
Yeah, so the writer of Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King, I'm ignoring what your joke, by the way. The writer of Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King also wrote for the Garbage Pail Kids, and I just want everybody to let this sink in. There's so many amazingly talented people who have worked on this show. Hey, if you're talking, I can't hear you, just so you're aware.
I am talking right now. You should be able to hear me. Say it again. This is a fun episode. I'm going to be editing out like half of this.
This episode is full of... You know what? I'm just going to say it. Leave this statement in the final edit. This episode is garbage. Ha!
I'm going to turn down the gain on that laugh.
Okay, so let's
We
actually...
are experiencing a lot of technical issues. This might be a shorter episode than
Well,
usual.
if you shut up and I will continue the episode...
Because this is content.
Okay, I'm trying to continue the episode now. Are we ready?
No,
okay.
but proceed anyway.
Shut up. And in the first 2 episodes, they're like regular kids, and the Garbage Pail Kids are like their alter egos. But that goes away after the first couple episodes. Like, they're just always the Garbage Pail Kids after that, which I think is more fun. So your main characters, you have Split Kit, who is like the punk, I guess, Jekyll and Hyde kind of character. Elliot Mess, who is this kid whose limbs are like rearranged and fallen apart. You have Terry Cloth, who is she has no face, and she has like eyes and a mouth painted on her hand, and she talks with it like a puppet. You have got Clogged Dwayne, who is this like really droopy, wet, like slime kid. And you have Putty Patty, who is this like gremlin stretchy child. And I'm gonna call Putty Patty an androgynous icon, because while a couple of times in the show they refer to them as a girl, they're so androgynous and I love it.
Alright, this is a fun episode. I just like Discord decided to update on me in the middle of a call. I'm gonna edit out that big pause and everything. But this is a very technically challenged episode. Hopefully, I should be able to save it in the edit. I don't think we have anything that I couldn't save in the edit as long as the recordings are fine. But
Welcome to the Fuster Cluck.
we are on an adventure, and it is not a fun one, but we're gonna have fun anyways.
Okay, so if we want to make this sound a little bit natural, I just listed all of the main kid characters, all of the main Garbage Pail Kids, with little brief descriptions of them, and I called Putty Patty an androgynous icon.
I love it. Okay, so I missed that. But I do need to comment on what was the name of the girl whose face is on her hand?
Terry Cloth is the one who doesn't have a face.
Okay, we need to talk about that because everyone else has like all these like super intricate things going on, like they stretch out or they turn into like giant puddles of mud, or they can rearrange their body parts or whatever, or they're just like edgy. And then she just has her face on her hand. And you can tell so many times in this cartoon that they are struggling to make that relevant. Like, okay, does all these clever, fun things. How can Terry have fun with the fact that her face is on her hand? And I think they managed to pull it off, like, maybe twice. And then, like, after that, they're just kind of sort of repeating the fact that she can draw whatever she wants on her face or on her head. She doesn't have a face on her head, so she can do whatever she wants with her head. But they are, like, grasping for straws with Terry. That is...
Yeah, they do that a lot. I mean, I still like Terry. Like, my least favorite is probably Split Kit, who is like the punk greaser kid who I think is supposed to be the leader, but he never does anything.
Yes, he is so pointless. I think he gets an episode to himself for Valentine's Day where he's like, I'm too edgy for Valentine's Day. Let's go to recess instead.
Yeah, he's not... He's the most boringest out of all of them. And I believe it's the first episode where they're infiltrating the like the factory, because like it's a kid show. Like, evil batteries are making the toys not work, and they're infiltrating it, and the bad guy is like trying to capture them, and the only ones that get away are Putty Patty and Clogged Dwayne, because they're the only ones with superpowers that are useful.
Precisely.
Like, I mean, Elliot Mess is arguably useful, but only in certain situations.
Well, I mean, Terry's super useful, because remember, she can take her hand and stick her hand out the window, and then her face is out the window. She's like a human periscope.
Yeah, but...
Okay, we can talk more about the characters in a bit.
Elliot Mess is the same way, because he can his head is just off. He can just take it off and do whatever he wants with it.
Yes, enough about the characters for now, though. We can come back to the characters later. I want to talk about the setup of the show first. So it always starts with like a little intro where it's like, oh my goodness, this show's so gross. Kids shouldn't be watching it. We are pandering to the kids who think they're edgy, but they're watching a Saturday morning cartoon. Oh well. I think this is it's basically a bunch of intros telling you how edgy the show is, even though it's a 1987 children's cartoon for CBS.
It was edgy enough to get banned.
I think this is like during like peak Bart Simpson's and Issue era. I don't remember. When did The Simpsons start airing?
Incorrect. The Simpsons had their first episode in 1989. So this is
the predecessor.
This is probably about when the Tracy Ullman show was going on with the Simpsons shorts on it, but not quite up to the level of the 90s where schools were like banning Bart Simpson t-shirts. And then by 1997 nobody cared anymore because South Park was a thing. And they're just like, do we care about Bart anymore? I think South Park's the evil one now.
Okay, so
each teachers could never keep up with it.
Garbage Pail Kids cartoon would start off with a little intro like that where they basically talk about how gross the show was, and then we'll do the theme song, which is awful, by the way, and I bet Belle's going to disagree with me on that one. It's like designed to be irritating, but I mean, like, I don't know, I guess that's just the theme of the show. but like I had to start skipping past the theme song every time I watched it because I could not deal with nya 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 13 times in a row.
So, would you believe me if I told you that I really love the theme song?
I would expect nothing less from you, you heretic. No, I guess I'm the heretic in this situation.
Except whenever I like hum the theme song to myself, it always goes from Garbage Pail Kids to Tailspin really fast, and I don't know how to fix that.
I mean, just accept that that it becomes a better theme song in your head.
You're rude, but the Tailspin theme song is fire, so I'm not mad.
So, Belle and I were having some technical issues. We have to edit out like a whole chunk of stuff now, and like actually edit it out, not my whole usual. We have to edit this out, and then like they're all cheeky like and everything. But yeah, let's start again from the setup of the cartoon and how the cartoon is like what's the framework of the show.
In the framing device of the show, every episode starts like right before the theme song with somebody begging you not to watch the show, which is what my little intro was about. So after the theme song that Bubbles loves with all her heart, it always goes into a movie parody or a genre parody, some sort of parody. For the first half of the show, there's like an alien invasion one, there's a disaster movie one, there's a Conan the Barbarian one, and then after the theme song, it goes into a
Yeah, so essentially each episode has two parts to it. The opening, the opening like movie parody, which we're gonna go into a bit more detail about, and then there's other stuff later. So essentially, every episode is cut into two parts. There's the opening sketch, which is essentially like a movie parody. And I question some of the choices for the movies because I mean, like, I think the movie section in particular kind of makes me wonder who are these episodes intended for? Because I think especially a lot of the earlier episodes, like episodes like 1, 2, and 4, all had even if you don't get like what the movies are a reference to, you get the cliches and the tropes going on and they still end up with a lot of clever humor based on that. But like later in the show, there's references to movies like James Bond and The Fly and things like that. And I kind of wonder.
yeah, the Fly one.
Yes, I wonder.
Well, like a lot of them also become genre parodies in a way. Like it's never like a specific movie that they're doing. It's like a type of movie. Like in
Yeah, like
I forget specifically which episode it is, but it's the Oops the Disaster movie is what the segment is called, and it's just a whole thing about like different types of disaster movies, and like the main character is his name is Richard Dreyfish, like Richard Dreyfuss, and he's Richard Dreyfuss's Jaws character. But he goes through a bunch of different like genre movies. He ends up on the Titanic at one point, like that kind of stuff.
well, yeah, but that's not episodes. So, like, the first couple of episodes have, like, genre parodies like that. But then later, when they get into specific movies, I wonder, like, how is a kid supposed to get this? Like, in the James Bond one, like, there's some characters who, like the parody of M and Q are literally just the letters M and Q, but there's in the building with Miss Pennyworth, who is, like, her head is a penny. And I'm like, what kid is going to understand that? Like,
Kids know what James Bond is.
Sure, yeah, but I still feel like they tried to be really clever with some of the jokes in ways that were just sort of like, oh, do you get it? Because the leader of MI6 is named M, so they're just a giant letter M, and I'm like, okay, things were more clever in the first couple of episodes when you were just trying to parody the genre as opposed to specific movies, but okay. I think that was sort of my temperature on the series as a whole, because I went in expecting to not super be into the show, but then like the first couple of episodes were a lot more clever than I think I was ready to give it credit for. But then like I was super into it. But then either like the quality of the writing went down the further into the show it got, or this was a show that was meant to be aired on Saturdays from week to week and watched by younger children. It was not meant to be binged over the course of a couple days like I was doing. And I just got tired of it.
Yeah, so Bubbles hates this show.
What's that?
I said Bubbles hates this show. because she likes
Yes, I
breaking
am
my
not
heart.
digging this show, and I'm totally ready to fight Belle over that.
Yeah. What was your let's what was your favorite of their like movie parody segments? Like do you have one that like sticks
I
out to
think that would be
you?
the cowboy one, the pie fight one. I think that one was the cleverest.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites too. The pie
Yes, I
fight
think
at the
my
Okie
favorite part
Dokie
was when
Corral.
they get robbed by the stagecoach robbers, and then they're like, no, don't take the money, and they're like, well, of course we're not going to take the money. We're stagecoach robbers, so we're just going to take the stagecoach.
We're not gold robbers, we're stagecoach robbers. We're taking the stagecoach and then they leave. It's fantastic.
Precisely. So that was a lot of fun. The first couple of episodes, I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, that one is one of my favorites. I love I love the bad guys, which are Butch Calamity, which is just a guy in a bunch of casts, and the sunburnt kid, which is just a dude with a sunburn.
Yes, it was ridiculous.
Like I love their dumb naming conventions. I really do.
I liked it. I
Um
think it did get old.
another one of my favorites was just by name alone, Kinky Konk.
Yes, that was an adventure. I'm glad we watched that now, like so soon after King Kong versus Godzilla came out, because like I feel like that one just kind of hit differently.
I just like that it's instead of just being solely like we're gonna do this but kind of gross. It's they turn it into like a Looney Tunes like chase cartoon, but instead of King Kong wanting to chase Fay Ray around, it's the other way around where Fay Ray's chasing King Kong.
Yes, that was.
Like it was so fun. I
I
liked
will
I
say
liked
though,
what
there
they
were
did with it. Allison Court is playing the Fay Ray character, whose name is Fay Hooray. It's I like that one a lot.
I had an issue with some of the movie parodies in particular because they were leaning on a lot of like really humor that didn't age well. Like there's a lot of time, like in the jungle episode. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna touch the natives. That's
Uh,
like anytime where like the humor dealt with women, like in the jungle episode when they're escaping from all the natives, which were instead of unpacking, we're just gonna throw out the suitcase. But like once they get to woman, the woman like there's a giant like stone woman guardian thing, and so then the
mm-hmm.
whole way they get past her is they say like, "Oh, your makeup is ruined" or whatever, and she's distracted by like dealing with her makeup, and then like later in the Superman parody, Superman tells like the Lois Lane stand-in that, "Oh,
I'm sorry. It's Super Nerd,
I'm not sorry, deal with it." But Super Nerd says,
and it's Lois Lamebrain.
"Okay, so." Not Superman and not Lois Lane are trapped and they're stuck by like green licorice, and so to get out they need
Yeah.
not Lois Lane, to eat the green licorice. And she says, "Oh no, I'm on a diet." And it's the cheapest joke for basically everyone. Like, I mean, 80s cartoons were not good at these things, and like the movie parodies in particular tend to fall into some of those traps a little bit more, and they do not age well.
Yeah, there's a couple really iffy ones. Like the natives in the King Kong parody are not great. The natives in the Indiana Jones parody are super not great.
Yeah,
How they just made them lizards and they're literal monsters, and then the shrunken heads that like come to life and talk to them, and it's a bit like they get a good one liner every now and then. Like I think in the King Kong one, Fay Hooray is talking to one of the natives who's like dressed really really well, and he's like, yeah, just because I'm oh, I forget what he says. Just because I'm primitive doesn't mean I'm unintelligent or something like that.
I do remember that.
And
And I think I feel like the natives in the King Kong one were like not really an issue, and like even if they were, I think they spent a lot less time on them. Oh well.
they definitely did, but there are some that are just well, I mean the Idaho Spud one, which is the Indiana Jones parody, that one's fucking rough.
We are both white kids. Let's not. Well, we're both white.
We're definitely not
But
kids,
not spend a lot of time
but
talking about stuff that we are maybe not super equipped to handle on our Nostalgia Bomb podcast. What the?
it's gonna be that kind of an episode.
Oh god. Okay. You know what? So moving on. After the movie parodies, they play like a little commercial for like a fake product, like something that'll kick your sister out of the room, or that'll
Yep.
like make your parents stop bothering you, or like an inflatable clone of yourself that you can use to make your parents
Yes, it's very like
a blow up doll for
80s
children.
80s what are the kids into kind of thing, and the best things they kind of come up with are like a cream so your gross aunt won't give you a kiss, and it's like, oh, is this what kids cared about in the 90s? And it's like, no, this is just what adults think kids cared about.
Yes, it's a whole ass thing. But then that's always followed up with like they call it a groaner. It's basically just like bad
Yep.
puns. And I can't remember like a single groaner or a single punchline or a single pun. They don't really stand out very well. But it's really just supposed to like be a little transition piece into what I think is like the main segment of most of the shows. And that is the part that
Yeah,
actually focuses on
the actual
yes, the
Garbage Pail
characters, the Garbage Pail
Kids,
Kids and all those.
which
And then honestly, at this point, I think I'm going to take some of the audio from earlier where you were describing the Garbage Patch Kids and just edit it in over here.
Garbage Patch Kids.
The what?
You said the Garbage Patch Kids? I do want to talk about, in, I believe, Latin America, the Garbage Pail Kids are translated as the Busaritas, which I've seen translated back into English as the Trashlings, and that's just the best name ever.
That's what. Yes, okay, that's a fun name. I like that.
I needed to say it. Yeah, so the main Garbage Pail Kids are kind of like a superhero team in a lot of ways, and kind of not.
Yeah, they're supposed to be, but mostly it's just like a clique of kids. Like,
Yeah, they're just doing stuff, and that's fine.
the tomboy, the relatable boy, the edgy kid, the bad boy, token black character.
which one's the relatable kid?
Elliot, I guess. I mean, don't you ever like unscrew your head?
How is Elliot? I get he does the like the Willy Wonka thing where he messes up his words and like switches them around in the sentence, and like that's relatable.
I don't know. I picked him because he was the most milquetoast.
Really, I felt like Split Kit was the most milquetoast.
Well, he's supposed to be the edgy bad boy. He just ended up being the most boring and milquetoast.
That's true. He just ends up being the worst one.
But I guess that makes Elliot the comedic relief, even though everyone's supposed to be the comedic relief. So I guess Elliot is just sort of there.
I mean, they're all just kind of there.
Except for Terry, she can stick her hand out the window.
Oh God.
She has that going for her.
Yeah, so you hated this show. You hate the Garbage Pail Kids, and that's fine.
Yeah, I was not feeling it. And so these always end with like a Garbage Pail Kids award, where they're like, "Oh, hey, let's give an award to maybe someone we like, maybe someone we don't like."
Yeah, it's like what was edgy in the 80s, or what people thought was edgy in the 80s, and I love it. It's so good, and it makes me sad that you don't like it, because I think it's very, very cute. But we're going to be doing other 80s shows, so get ready for it.
Yeah, I don't feel like the world has lost much as a result of not having the Garbage Pail Kids.
You're going to keep doing that. I'm going to make a thing about it every single time, so you can't edit it out. Let's call them the Trashlings.
Yes, we can just call them the trash. Wait, is it Trashlins like goblins or Trashlings?
I believe it's lings, because Busarita Ita would be like a little kid, or like small something. So like Trashling, like a youngling.
Okay. Like a youngling. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you understand what Star Wars is.
So yeah, I don't really feel like the world lost much as a result of missing out on the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon. But I mean,
the world got the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon. America didn't.
I don't feel like the world lost anything as a result of it being canceled after one season. But if you enjoy it, I'm not gonna marsh your mellow, bro.
I do enjoy it. So like, I love the Garbage Pail Kids, and I like the future of the Garbage Pail Kids is looking bright, because I need you to know that in 2020 they released a Garbage Pail Kids novella written by R.L. Stine.
Come visit our Discord to hear Belle's
And
review
you
of the
know
novella.
I bought that. I own a copy. I'm looking at it right now. It's perfect.
Come to our Discord, link in the description, to check out the live reading of the Garbage Pail Kids novella at some point.
I will absolutely do that. And the main character is Adam Baum, who's like the poster child Garbage Pail Kids for the first like 5 sets of cards. Oh, it's so good. And then they give you the little Garbage Pail like stickers and stuff. One of them is Atom Bomb, which is awesome. One of them is a little R.L. Stein sticker, but it's R.L. Slime, and he's covered in goo. So good. So good.
I'm very familiar with how the Garbage Pail sticker worked out, but like your favorites. Tell me your favorites.
My favorites? That's hard. I don't know. I mean, Atom Bomb is the classic. He's the one everybody's. But one of the fun things about the cards was each like artwork, each kid had 2 names. There was an A card and a B card. So like Atom Bomb's, well, that was his A name, but his B card name was like Blasted Billy or Blast Off Billy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody had 2 different like weird pun names.
Yes, that much I remember.
And that kind of
trading
like
cards, because I remember
it kind of surprises me that like it kind of surprises me that like characters like Atom Bomb didn't.
Yeah, so like I keep referencing like my dad's collection of cards always had like the 2 versions of the same card, where you'd have like the same picture of the same Garbage Pail Kid, but they'd have like 2 different names, so you could sell the card twice. I mean, I keep saying my dad's collection, but like it's also worth mentioning it could have been like my uncle's collection or someone like that, but that's not super the point. It was one of my grandparents' kids.
Yeah, no, they did that a lot, and certain ones were more popular than the others, or certain ones are rarer. Like I keep mentioning Atom Bomb, but he's like the poster child of the Garbage Pail Kids. And I want to say there was like a super pristine, like original Atom Bomb card that sold for like $1,000 or something crazy like that.
All right, so Belle, are you ready for final thoughts?
You know what? Yeah. Final thoughts.
Okay.
You want to go first, or do I want to go first?
I'll go first. So my final thoughts are: I think it started very strong, very clever at points, but in the end, I think it repeats itself a lot, or maybe just like the jokes don't last over the course of 13 episodes. I don't know who I'd recommend this to. I was not really feeling it. I don't really think it was worth the time to put into it. But like, you know, if you have fun with that kind of stuff, I could see you enjoying it. Check it out if you want. Come tell us what you think about it. But I'm not really sure I know who this is for, other than like Belle, apparently. Anyone who I recommend this to. So not for. How about you, Belle?
So yeah, it's 100% for me and just for me. I don't know if there exists any more fans of the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon in the world, but there must be, because and here's a bit of a lighthearted end. On this day that we are recording, which is going to date this episode a lot, but this day they announced that HBO Max is going to be producing a new Garbage Pail Kids cartoon. Literally today, the day we're recording this episode about Garbage Pail Kids.
May 26th, if anyone needs that information, is the day that we're recording this and the day that a new Garbage Pail Kids cartoon got announced. I guess there's a bigger audience than I thought. It's not me. I don't get it.
I mean, they're still making more Garbage Pail Kids stuff. They've been making new cards. We've got the book came out just last year. We're getting a new cartoon. Oh my god, it's a good time to be a Garbage Pail Kids fan. All right.
I'm glad the Garbage Pail Kid fans are having their day. I'm glad they're having fun. I don't want me not enjoying it to make it any less fun for any of y'all. But I will tell Belle.
You know what? I feel like it's in the spirit of the Garbage Pail Kids to really enjoy the fact that you don't enjoy it.
Does that mean that I need to throw a fit and say nobody should watch this show?
Yeah, you're gonna be Miss Funbuster.
Excellent. Okay.
Which is one of the characters from the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon.
Excellent. I can be part of this then, even if I'm not feeling it. So, this show sucks. Anyone who enjoys this show needs to be beat up. I'm going to shove Belle into a locker now.
No, this show's really good. Y'all, anybody who listens to this podcast, You should watch the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon. It's worth it. It's fun. It's adorable.
And then I will give you a wedgie.
Bubbles is just a poopy head.
We will not have this sort of language on the show where I drop an F-bomb like at least once an episode.
I mean, I swear all the time.
I'm trying to swear less on this podcast, but I don't think I'm doing a very good job of that. But yeah, go ahead. Check out.
I mean, would you believe me if I said that I actually dial back how often I swear on this podcast?
I think you do a better job than I do.
I mean, I'm trying, but no. Garbage Pail Kids, it's wonderful. There's going to be a new cartoon coming out that I just really enjoy that coincidence. I think Danny McBride is attached.
So yeah,
it's really good. I like the cards. I like the books. I like the cartoons. I like everything. It's all wonderful.
the cartoon. Come join us on Discord. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if Belle is wrong, and if she's dumb. Anybody who likes it, I'll give you a wedgie, and I'll sing the Garbage Pail Kids theme song while doing it. Because I guess that's what I do. I'm supposed to torment anyone who wants to watch the show. But anyways, new show coming out. Chat with us about it. Tell us how you like the old one. Tell us how you like the new one. Don't forget to join us in another 2 weeks when we talk about the 2008 Twilight movies and possibly the sequel to that movie as well. We'll see, but we're at least going to cover the original Twilight movie, so hang tight for that. We keep saying like, comment, and subscribe, but we're also on Anchor, which distributes us to a bunch of other podcasting platforms where there is no like button, and a lot of them don't have comment spaces, and I guess you can still subscribe or follow though, but do whatever you want to do. I bet we can get 40 minutes to an hour of a podcast out of this somewhere.
It's gonna be a rough one.
Belle, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening. This was all my fault. You're welcome.
Garbage Pail Kid Award goes to Belle.